Hello there, friends. I know it has been quite a while, but I finally got off my rear end and decided to make another baking video. This time, we are going to be making mini pavlovas. It's a meringue-based dish. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so for this project, you will need 6 egg whites. As always with all baking, make sure your eggs are room temperature, but it especially matters when you're doing things that are meringue based like the pavlova or macarons. You also need a 1.5 cups of just regular granulated white sugar, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, and then a 1/2 teaspoon each of vanilla extract and lemon juice. So right now I'm just going to divide all of my eggs the yolks from the egg whites. And I'm not saving any yolks this time just because I'm not making custard or anything and I don't really want an omelet. So let's get to it. Now that I've washed my hands again, I know a lot of people don't like separating eggs that way, but that's the most efficient way I found to do a whole bunch of eggs because I have a little strainer, but it doesn't work great. I know there's more efficient ways, but anyway, that's how I do it. It's just gross. So pardon the facial journey. So anyway, with my whisk attachment on my stand mixer, I'm just gonna let these mix for a little while, about a minute, 1.5 minutes, until it forms soft peaks. And then I'll show you what soft peaks look like. So now that's been going for a little while and I just wanna show you soft peaks are when you pick it up and it kind of keeps its shape as like a little mountain, but it doesn't have a point to it. And you don't want to over whip them at this stage just because you just don't. But anyway, that's a soft peak. Now I'm going to gradually add my sugar as I'm letting it whip up. And once the sugar is all incorporated, I'm going to let it mix for 10 minutes, which just seems absurd to me, but that's what you have to do. So here we go. Pardon the noise of my little mixer that could. It's about on its last leg, but we're about halfway through on the mixing. And I just want to show you guys how glossy and thick and shiny that meringue is starting to look. When it's done, it'll have a very marshmallowy consistency that I absolutely love. So yeah, just wanted to show you. You guys, it's so pretty. Okay, so I don't know if you watch the Great British Baking Show, but you know when they like stand their meringues over their head? I'm not gonna do that. I am not that brave. But when you get those little curly cues and the thing just stands up, it's just a very beautiful silky consistency. So just trying to knock off as much as I can here. I'll probably eat that later. Now we're just going to mix in our 1/2 teaspoon each of vanilla and lemon. I love leaving it locked in right now because it means that I don't have to, use a hand to help steady it. Seriously, look at this stuff. I don't know if fluffernutter is a thing where you live, but that's the consistency except better. I grew up eating, I guess, fluff, marshmallow fluff. Fluffernutters when you make a peanut butter and fluff sandwich. Apparently a lot of people hate it. I don't know, I guess it's a love it or hate it, kind of like meringue. Most people I found, they're not ambivalent towards meringue. They either love it or they don't want anything to do with it. Yeah, so you're just gonna mix that until it's well mixed, but you don't wanna mix it too much, I guess, just until it's like properly incorporated. It makes a really weird sound because all these air pockets, it just kind of sounds like, I don't know, if like a small mattress was playing in a field, I feel like that's what it would sound like. Okay, and now we're just gonna quickly mix in our 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Pavlovas are, you know, an Australian dessert, I guess. And I know that there's probably a traditional way to make them, but I like that a lot of people, you know, it's just meringue, cream, and fruits. And so I'm using fruits that I like and the people I'm making it for like. But you can do anything you want with it, you know, strawberries, blueberries, things like that. I'm doing mango and nectarine and kiwi and strawberry because that's what I like. But yeah, so that's all mixed in now. I have my little star tip and piping bag ready to go. I try to open the bag more than I normally do because this stuff is weird to load into a bag. Silky. Right. And try and get out as many air pockets as you can. They'll make their way out no matter what, but when you're piping shapes, it's a little bit easier if you start with as few air pockets as possible. All right, and I'm ready to go. I brought my baking tray over here so that you guys can see how I'm doing this. I just have some parchment paper on a regular baking sheet. Make sure you use parchment paper, not wax paper. I've made that mistake before. It's not fun because it melts. I just creased it into base. Yeah, that's good. Just to kind of give me a rough idea of where I want to put each of the little pavlovas. So I'm just starting in a ring. And then you kind of build up like that into a little bowl. And I'm just going to do that a few more times. Something that always worried me when I was doing this, I was like, wait, but they're going to spread out. And I'm like, no, they're not. That's the whole point, is they don't spread out. Anyone who's ever made cookies, especially if you're trying to make like shaped cookies, they never stay the shapes. They just don't. Right on the right. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go refill my bag and then continue piping. But you see how they're standing up and there's a little cavity inside each one. I don't know if you could see me pointing just then. Nope, you could not. So there's little cavities inside each one. And that's where the cream and the berries will go. So as you can see, I didn't have quite enough to make, you know, the whole row of little barrels, nests, whatever. So I just made little meringue kisses to be crunchy treats for later. But now this is gonna go in the oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit, so a fairly low temperature, for an hour and 15 minutes. And I know it's gonna seem crazy, but that's what they need. Now those are in the oven. As always, clean as you go. So I'm gonna wash this because I'll be needing it later, as well as my whisk attachment and the star tip and everything, and my hands, because they're very marshmallowy. But first, I want you to see. It's just, yep. Goodness, that's good. Okay, very good. See you in about an hour and 15 minutes. I did get a request to see some cats, so I'm going to do all that I can to summon them. Also, if you see in the corner here, I'm going to try and bring my finger in. Nope, not going to work. Cool. So the little gray thing on the corner right here It is so that cats can rub their faces on it and kind of their sides, and it feels really good. If you have cats, I highly recommend them. We have them strategically placed throughout the house. You can just put them on with 3M strips. I really don't even know what they're called. Let me see if I can find a name. They're called Cat-It, C-A-T-I-T. I'm not obviously sponsored by anyone, but they just really like to rub up against it, and it kind of gives them a place to do it rather than just on any random corner. And it just really helps kind of control some of the oils that they will put all over your walls. But anyway, let's see if I can summon some cats. I'm shaking a treat bag. And I hear, oh, that's Dusty Kitten. We have 2 black cats. She's a smaller, oh, there's Cricket. Cricket used to be a lot more walrus shaped. We're very proud of her for losing weight. Oh, there's Andy. He is the only cat with 3 names. His name is Andrew Angela Phillips because he's bad. And he tends to get into stuff all the time. So, come here, kitties. All right. Andy, can you be gentle? Good job. What about you, Cricket? Can you be gentle? No, my goodness. Oh, you just do that to Andy. Oh, and here comes Fiona. She is 18 years old. And she is just a very, alligator chomp, very good girl. Here, Fiona. You want one of those? You don't usually take treats from hands. And there's Lola in the corner. Lola is a scaredy baby. She's a very good girl. Andy, stop stealing Lola's treats. Come here, Dusty. Dusty, come here. Oh, you want that here? There you go, Fiona. Cricket will actually play fetch. She also sings in the middle of the night. Every night, she'll find a little tennis ball about this big, and she just sings you the song of her people, and some people she heard about one time, and some people she'd like to invent. Oh, there you go, baby. Good job. Lola's about 16 or 17, so she's, no, maybe 16, so she's getting up there in age. There you go, Dusty. Andy, stop taking Dusty's food. But yeah, so we love them very much. They're very sweet. Cricket is my alligator baby. Sorry for the turtle. She's very snappy. She's just enthusiastic. There you go, Lola. Lola, you missed it. There you go. Okay, that's all for now, guys. I do have a feather one for you, though. See who wants to play. What's that? Fiona, do you actually want to play? You don't usually. So when we first brought this toy out, when Andy was a lot littler, he would just take the little feather part in his mouth and go running through the house and growl. He wasn't attacking you, he was just feather damage. Lola's vision isn't great, so sometimes she can see just fine, other times not so much. Good job, Cricket, you got it. And actually, I want to say it's almost exactly 10 years since we brought Cricket home, so she's 10 years old now, which is baffling to me because when I got her, she was about maybe 5 weeks old. So, good job, Ricky. Like, don't just chew it. You gotta let it go. Stop it. Let go. Oh, get it, Lola. Good job. In our house, we actually talk to the cats in different voices to the point that they all know their voices. I might do their voices on a different video if people want to hear them, but we'll have full conversations with the cats in our house because of course we do. Good job, you guys. Thanks for making an appearance. I just wanted to show you guys They have been going for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And now I'm going to close this oven door back up and turn this off. And they're going to rest in the oven for another 30 minutes. They are officially out of the oven and they've settled a little bit, and they have really good little pockets where the cream and fruits are gonna go. And but yeah, I need to let them fully cool before I even try and move them or touch them or anything. And the little kisses browned up real nice too. So they're not as white anymore. They're more like a lightly toasted marshmallow, which makes sense. So yeah, I'm excited. Those are cool now. I'm very excited. So what I'm gonna do now, I have all my fruits laid out so I can just sort of assembly line style it. I'm a big fan of that apparently. This is 1.5 cups of cold heavy cream. And yeah, this one you don't want it to be room temperature, so do make sure that it's, you know, cold. And then I have 2 tablespoons again of just regular white granulated sugar. I'm just gonna put that in there. And I'm gonna do just a splash of vanilla. You don't have to, but I always find that cream, like, you know, whipped cream without any vanilla just doesn't taste right. So just do a little eyeballed splash of that. And yeah, just let it whip up. I always start it a little slow and then I ramp it up as I go from there. I just don't want it to slosh everywhere. All right, so you want it to be almost a spreadable consistency, so it's like a little bit thicker than a whipped cream you would put on, like, I don't know, pudding or hot chocolate. I don't know, I usually just make it for strawberries and things like that. Anyway, it's a good consistency now. I have that same star tip I used for the meringues. Those bags are so loud. And I'm just gonna fill up the pots of meringue. So you want to be able to like hold its shape and be firm. But you don't want to split it. Yeah, if you overmix your cream, a lot of times it'll split and then you really can't do a whole lot with it. So, all right, get those air bubbles out again. And I am yet again ready to go. So as I'm filling it, I want to make sure that I kind of keep it pressed down so that it fills in all those little nooks and crannies. And then just do like that. One thing I like about this cream is that it's not overly sweet. Like, it's sweet, but there isn't a whole lot of sugar to it. There's no powdered sugar in it. So when you eat it with the berries and the meringue, you get the chewy, you get the creamy, and you get the fruity all in each bite. And just a really nice little treat. Need to refill my bag. All right, so the cream is all filling all the little nests here, and now I'm just going to load on little fruits and spoonfuls. I pre-cut mine up yesterday because I just wanted to. It just makes it a little bit easier for assembly. And I'm not, like, there's really no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just doing, you know, a few here and a few there of each of them. I'm not a huge fan of blueberries. It's kind of a controversial opinion, I think, for a lot of people, but they just kind of squick me out. They're gritty, and people are like, oh, you just haven't had a good one. I'm like, I have had ones that are ripe. I have had ones that are not ripe. The not ripe ones to me have a better consistency because they're not mushy. but I'm kind of the same way with pears. I like the idea and I like the flavor of both pears and blueberries, but I don't really like eating them. So I'm sorry for anyone who really loves blueberries that I've now made sad. Get back in there. I am going to leave 2 without kiwi though, because both people at my household do not like kiwi, which I find very strange. But that's all right. Means more for me. Wayward strawberry. Ooh, fun fact about kiwi. Did you know that kiwi fruits have more potassium than bananas? So if you're ever low on potassium and you have access to it, go for a kiwi. All right, so I'm done with strawberries and I'm going to do my mango, nectarine, and kiwi. Well, they're all done. So they're all decorated. I did leave these 2 kiwi free because that's how somebody wanted them. I just really like these because they're really fruity, they're crunchy, they're sweet, they're chewy, like they have so many different flavors and textures, and you can load them up with any fruits that you want. I like cutting mine up into smaller pieces just because when they are minis, you do kind of just pick them up and eat them. I've never been able to successfully eat one of these with a fork. But I really like how they turned out, and I am happy that I have some people to be able to share them with. And I hope that when you make these, you also have someone to share them with, because otherwise you'll make yourself sick eating this much sugar. But anyway, if anyone has any questions for me, whether it's about baking or my cats, I don't really know, please don't hesitate to ask. Remember to take deep breaths, drink lots of water, unclench your shoulders, and just try to be kind. Also, I saved these and a little bit of cream so that I can just I love it. They have such a neat little texture on the inside. And don't worry, I'm not going to double dip. It just dissolves. It's so good. Bye, friends.